Good morning. I'm going to talk here until somebody shows up. Good morning. And I'm looking down at a monitor to try to see if anybody shows up. So as I'm looking down and kind of killing time here, if anybody knows of a better way, God, my crazy hair. It's just a different craziness each day. Hi, somebody popped in. Hello, hello, hello. I hope you can hear me. Please let me know if you cannot. Ooh, a couple of others. Say hey so I know who's here. Good morning. I am Casey. This is hopefully going to be a fairly standard Saturday morning event. I'm hoping to implement as long as time and my schedule allows. Hi, Peggy Ann. And for those of you who don't know, and I'll repeat this a couple of times, I also try to do live YouTube events on Monday mornings at 9 a.m. I'll do that as long as. Hey, Claire. Good morning, Jenny. Thank you guys for showing up. And Tricia just posted something on my timeline. Let me make sure that she's not trying to tell me she can't hear me. Hold, please. Oh, Tricia. Dang, Tricia just sent a picture of her recuperating leg. Let's hear it for Tricia. Okay, not only is Tricia super cool and funny with a wicked sense of humor, she is a helicopter pilot. Come on. Not only that, but she is the full-time caregiver of her, I think her mother's in her 90s. Is that true, Trish? And she's just had knee surgery. So she's a tough woman. Good morning, Rosemary. Good morning, Mary Beth. Yes, I've got my coffee. Depending on where you are, if you are, because we do get people that join from earlier time zones. Maybe they're having a little G&T or tea. Hey, Tricia, I just talked you up, sister. I was just singing your praises, saying about your super tough helicopter pilot taking care of your mom and knee surgery. All, it's just all cool. Go, Tricia. Okay. She turns 91 in March. God love you. Good morning from Naples, Florida. Okay, I am going to just kind of talk until someone has a question. For those of you who don't know, I'm Casey Durango. I talk about my experience with the ketogenic diet. Crazy hair, please excuse the crazy hair. And what I have found works for me. I do want to, I'm glad you're feeling great, Trish. I do want to point out something. I don't know whether you're seeing this having been notified through Go Keto with Casey or Keto After 40 and Beyond, which is a Facebook group community page for anybody. It's open to anybody, but we all know people after a certain age have a different set of challenges. Good morning, Central Texas. Thank you for getting up early. Drinking coffee, bacon in the oven, and Casey on the tube. Oh, isn't that nice? So it's open to anybody. It's about people who are trying to get control of their weight and their health and their lives and their happiness and all this. It's geared towards the ketogenic diet because that's what I know about. I can tell you, I could have started Facebook pages for the things that didn't work for me, but that wouldn't be very much fun. We had a really long string. A new member had posted that she was really happy she had found a product, a bread product, or she'd made the bread product. I think she'd bought it with one net carb. And so this started a conversation about, whether net or total and whether this and to the point. And everyone was very respectful. I thought it was a really long string. I just want to make sure. Hey, Danielle. Hey. Hey from Atlanta. I just want to make sure that everyone realizes the Keto After 40 and Beyond group is not restrictive. You don't have to do things the way I do it or the way other people do it. If it's working for you, great. I ask that you don't come in with products that are really off base. Some products are just cray-cray. They just say, oh, this is keto friendly and it has 38 grams of carbs and half cup. And because it has 17 grams of fiber, they say, oh, it's only whatever the math is, 21 grams of carbs. No, those will not be tolerated. And thank you. It's just why I'm not hungry in the morning until around 1-ish. I stopped drinking bulletproof coffee and just went to black coffee. Great news. I hit a new low. 112.7 pounds. You're 5'1". Congratulations, Mary Beth. That's fantastic. So and thank you to people who have reported posts to me, because they do, people come in and try to sell products and self-promotion, all that stuff. So thank you for that. But this is open to everyone. Everyone has been respectful. I don't want anyone to think, oh, I have to jump off this page because this is just Dr. Westman's page 4. This is what, Casey does it this way. No. Because my experience has changed as I have changed. So it's all about starting out with the basics and tweaking. That's my experience. Okay. Have to have some parameters, Casey. Yes, we have to have some. This is my 6-year cancerversary. Congratulations, Deanna. For those of you who don't know, I have been diagnosed and treated for cancer 3 times since I'm 31 years old. The most dramatic when I was pregnant with our 3rd child. That was not fun. And now there's really good research coming out about how cancer cells are dependent on glucose to flourish. This is not a new thing, by the way. Dr. Warburg in the 1920s, a German researcher, found this as well. Interesting thing there was a lot of good research going on in Germany in the 1920s and 1930s, and then when the war came, Germans were not welcome. So a lot of that research just disappeared. Anyway, so we're happy about that. Good morning, Debbie. Does anyone have, okay, a little housekeeping. I do one-on-one coaching. You can go to my website, CaseyDurango.com, hit the coaching site, video, telephone, or email support. We all need a little extra support. I am doing live events on YouTube, trying to at Monday mornings at 9 a.m. Eastern Standard. That's GMT -5. I've been doing keto since January. I really not lost much weight, but I'm thinking my physique is changing, but I am still plugging away. Good, Lisa. Don't give up. And anyone else who wants to tell Lisa about how just hang in there and how things happen. And so I'll repeat that again. So anyway. And I have not done a coffee chat. This is the video chats. My schedule really just got really busy. I'm going to try to do some more. So I'll send out an invite. For those of you who don't know, this is a bunch of us get into a room together, video, and we just talk. Everyone can talk. Everyone can hear everybody. People share things. I learn stuff. I try not to have it be too much. It's just, I think the first one we did had 48 people or something show up, and that was a little bit much. But if you want an invite, because it's by invite only, send an email to me, Casey@CaseyDurango.com, with coffee chat in the subject line, so I can kind of keep things straight. And I'll try to schedule one of those. I just try to plug them in. Don't rely on your scale to show progress. Your clothes tell a better story about success. That is absolutely true. Thank you, Claire. The losing inches and not losing pounds is a real thing. It's weird, but it is true. The way it was explained to me by Dr. Westman when I asked, because I didn't really understand, how can it be? How can you get smaller? Other than if you're pounding iron, pumping iron, and you're getting muscle mass, which takes up less space but can weigh the same. No, just sitting there doing keto, not doing any exercise, you take up less space but you weigh the same. Your cells, this is the way I understand it in my simple brain. So you have a bunch of cells filled up with fat. They have fat globules. And you become fat adapted. So you start burning fat for fuel. The cells squeeze out their globules to use for energy. Yay, empty cell. Body doesn't care for that right now because it's seen this story before. It thinks we're just going to hold on for a minute, wait for that fat to come back, because that's what's happened for the last 25 years, right? Can someone agree with me that that's what's happened for the last 25 years? You lose some weight, you put some more back on. So the cell, which has now been depleted of its fat, sucks in some water. The water weighs the same as fat, but it takes up less space. So what happens is that little placeholder hangs around for a while waiting for the fat to come back. The fat doesn't come back because you're sticking with it, because you're not giving up on keto, because you're not going to. Because everyone in this room is saying don't give up. So after a while, cell says, oh, I guess the fat's not coming back. Don't need you any more water. Whoosh! Scale moves. Now, how's that for a Sesame Street version of how it works? Hey, from Oregon. Now, Betty, is it Oregon or Oregon? Oregon. My daughter and son-in-law live in Portland, and I still don't know how to say it. Down 2 more pounds. Gotta love page 4, baby. Gotta love page 4. Down 2 more pounds. Do you have to have a webcam to be in the coffee chat? No, you can phone in. And you'll just show up as someone who's on the phone. Small girl, Patty. It's my best friend from high school in Chapel Hill. Good morning, Betsy. Yay, don't give up. Love the whoosh. Love the whoosh. And am I talking too loudly? Let me know if I am. I have a microphone on, so I'm a naturally loud person. I come from a very long line of big mouths. Okay. I'm at the top of Keto After 40 and Beyond. Top. There is a tab that says Files, but there's an updated version of Dr. Westman's protocol that I can send you a link to if you ask me to. Indiana. No, I'm just excited. I am excited. Thank you. I sound fine. Okay, I won't worry about that anymore. Now, oh, look, Debbie, my jeans I've worn during my current 40-pound weight loss finally got too baggy. I drug out some smaller jeans. Oh, I want to see that in my closet, and they fit. They're 2 sizes smaller. So excited. I don't know if you, okay, Jennifer writes, just started my keto journey from Southport, North Carolina, down 18 pounds in the past 5 weeks. Love you. And you were so inspired. Thank you. I'm so glad that has been good. Bend, Oregon. Good morning. Hey, Jim. Love to have the dudes in here. Another housekeeping thing. If you haven't seen it already, scroll down on either Go Keto with Casey Facebook page or Keto After 40 and Beyond page. There is an invite to the monthly support group meeting with Dr. Eric Westman. It is limited. If you are in the area and can make it to Durham, North Carolina on March 7th. It's always the first Tuesday of the month. I think it's a great thing. There's no charge to sit there. It is held in the restaurant area of the Durham Hilton. There is a keto buffet that you can get, but you don't have to get anything. You can sit there, drink water for free, not pay a dime, and hear Eric Westman talk for an hour and a half. He just answers questions. So if you can make it, try to. Let me know. RSVP, email me directly, Casey at CaseyDurango.com. The instructions are in. That is limited seating, first come, first serve. It is a great support group. I learn something new every single time. And Trish, I hope you can be there. We haven't seen you in a while. Yes, they are on Periscope. Some people have trouble getting them on Periscope. I try to go ahead and scrape them afterwards and post them on my Facebook page. So sometimes that works. I'll be 59 in May. I wish I knew about this lifestyle 20 years ago. The money I would have saved, Betty. No S-H-I-T. I have a potty mouth, by the way, so sometimes I let go. Hello from Kennewick, Washington. So many Washingtonians and Oregons, you West Coasters. Where's my girl Karen? She's supposed to be on here from Alaska. I love these live talks. Keto living is just amazing and makes me very excited to talk to others that get it. You know what? It's like a secret society, isn't it? It's like when you become a parent and you love being a parent and you want to talk about all the exciting stuff that's going on. But if you're talking to people who've never had children, they're like, yeah, please don't bring the baby up again. And you love to talk with other parents. This is like that. It's like, if you talk about this with people, their eyes just kind of glaze over. So I don't talk about it with people who don't ask me. Good. I'm so glad you'll be at the meeting on Tuesday, Trish. Thank you, Karen. I was just wondering where you are. It's snowy up there. Got daffodils where I am. Lisa writes, it seems like my taste buds have totally changed. I can hardly taste anything except for fat. Does anyone else have this going on? My experience, now I'm 3 years in, and I don't eat much food compared to what I did. I find that my taste buds are really heightened, and it doesn't take much to have like a flavor explosion, and the flavor is what's exciting to me. So I don't know if you're seeing that as a negative or a positive. I see it as a positive. Phyllis, right. Good morning from Minnesota. 5 weeks on Monday, still in ketosis. That's the longest I've been in. Can ketosis vary excited about 18 pounds. I think some autocorrect went on there, but 18 pounds, that's fantastic. Hi, good morning. Hey, Miriam. Good to see you, sister. Hi from Ontario. Hey, Lynn. Okay, I'm just going to talk, as I tend to do, contemporaneously. As I think it's coming out my mouth. What are macros and why do they keep coming up? Is that a loaded question, Tricia? Are you giving me a topic? Thank you. Macros, because if you know me, I don't pay attention to macros. I'm eating food. I'm following the food list. And I talk about page 4 in Dr. Westman as if he's some shaman, okay? Now, he's a wonderful person, totally egoless and kind. Well, totally. I don't hang around with him every day, but he certainly seems that way to me. And page 4. And he'll be the first to say he didn't come up with all this. He took the food list from, an earlier version of Atkins, and that came from William Banting back in 1863. So I'm not trying to say this is some kind of magic, but it is like magic, okay? Macros are mentioned nowhere when Dr. Westman talks about this. He does not say try to get 75 or 80% of your calories from fat and 15 or 20 from protein and 5% from carbs. Can someone tell me what the rule is when you're following Dr. Westman's protocol? Can someone tell me what's the first tenet? I want to see somebody type it. I want to see how well. Oh, Adelaide, Australia. Mary, that's fantastic. I'm drinking coffee. What are you drinking? If anything. Okay, I'm waiting. What's the first thing about following the ketogenic diet as I follow it, as Dr. Westman says to do it? No one's going to tell me. Okay, I have to say. Very disappointed. Well, that's eat only when hungry is one of them. Eat only on page 4. That's one of them. 20 carbs or less. That's it. Keep your carbs below 20. For me, okay, I want to make this really clear. That's 20 grams total carbs, not net. Eat only when hungry is the hardest thing for me. I've said it before. I'll say it again. It's like Groundhog Day every day with me. I get up and I say, can I eat anything right now? No, I have to eat only when hungry. Regular carbs or total carbs. And the reason for that is, and I'll try to remember to ask, or Tricia, you remember to ask at the next meeting, why is that, Dr. Westman? Why not net? I believe that he has addressed this before, and he said he's not really sure where this subtracting out fiber carbs came from. Some fiber possibly won't be absorbed by the system and goes through. Yeah, I'm coming back to that spreadsheet. So let me write it up because he's going through fast. I've got little notes here, spreadsheets. But he's not sure where the science is to say, well, if you have 6 grams of fiber and 20 grams of carb, the fiber, and plus that's a lot of math. Fiber is meaningless. Yeah, okay, that was pretty direct. Thank you, Trish. What are net carbs? Peggy Ann. Some people do net carbs. A product, you look at the label, it says it has 10 grams of carb per serving, and it has 5 grams of fiber. So the net carbs would be 10 minus 5 equals 5. Net carbs. I wonder if that didn't come up when the low carb thing started and they were looking for a way to market shelf-stable products. Does anyone think maybe that could have happened? They just made it up. That's where I started off incorrectly. I was eating net carbs instead of total. Now I'm doing total. And this brings up my point. Someone says, I spoke earlier, if you weren't on earlier, on the Keto After 40 and Beyond, there was a very long string. A new member had posted that she'd found this great product. It was low carb bread. And if she's on the thing, I'd love if she's comfortable popping in, that'd be great. And she got a little, not flack, but just saying, and I said, that's great. If it works for you, great. Just be careful about those net carbs. And for me, eating a bread product, something that is like bread, might be a trigger for me. So I'm probably going to stick away from it anyway, even if it only had 1 gram of carb total. Because, as I've said before, I can eat mashed cauliflower that really mimics mashed potatoes. And even though it's allowable and it's low in carbs, I will stand over the stove and eat the pot of it, and that's not good. But anyway, in Australia, carbs are reported without fiber and do not have to list. They don't have to list the carbs at all. Wow. So how do you figure that out in Australia? What do you do? Because I know low carb is a big deal down under. So anyway, okay, so here's the point I want to make about the bread and the net carbs and everything else that comes in. If you're just starting, particularly if you have a decent amount of weight to lose, as did I, the main thing is to get into ketosis, right? Don't count calories. Don't worry about macros. I never did net carbs, but I would do bulletproof coffee sometimes because I found out about that and it's like, wow. But as I lost weight and I needed to refine my program, and this can be something for other people. So maybe you're doing great on net carbs. You're doing great with bulletproof coffee and fat bombs. But then you stall out. And then you start thinking, okay, well, this doesn't work. This program doesn't work for me. No, what it is you need to kind of get back onto the stricter program. So start tweaking. As long as you're in ketosis, and if you're not losing weight, start looking at these things. Am I doing total or net carbs? If you're doing net, try doing total. Am I overeating a lot of dietary fat? Am I taking in bulletproof coffee? Am I doing fat bombs? If you're in ketosis, you're doing total carbs, you're not losing weight, look at your dietary fat. If you've looked at all that, are you eating only when you're hungry? Because it is easy to overeat. I don't like to share this too much because I don't want people thinking this is what they should be doing. I am about, including alcohol, I'm at about 800 or 900 calories a day, guys. Now, that doesn't mean my body's only using 800 or 900 calories or that my system's going to shut down because, this whole, you'll go into starvation mode. No, my body's getting its energy because I still have adipose. I still have body fat. I have a few pounds more I'd like to lose. And even if it's just 7 pounds more I want to lose, that's a lot of calories that I can go through. Okay, 1 gram of fat has 9 calories. There are about 28 grams in an ounce. There are 16 ounces in a pound. I have about 7 or 8 pounds I'd like to lose. You do the math. That's a lot of energy. So, morning, Casey. Stopped with the butter. Was like candy for me. Starting to lose again. That's great. Betty writes, as you get closer to goal, tweaking is very important. Total carbs and watching the fat, very important. I agree. Just got a blood meter. First day was 2.6, second day it registered low. This morning was 0.1. What kind of meter do you have, Miriam? Mine doesn't say low. My eating is not bouncing around as much as the meter is. Don't know what kind of meter you might have. Cut back on bulletproof coffee, lost 2 pounds. That's great. That is so great. 1 pound has approximately 3,500 calories of energy, okay? And that's approximate too. That's a little bit of a thing. But, Karen, do you think once you lose the last 7, you might have to start adding fat? This is a loaded question, Karen, because you know the answer to that. I probably will if I feel like I need to, because I won't add carbs in. But if I get to, say I get to my ideal weight, I feel like my body fat percentage is just where I'm comfortable. And if I need the same number of calories from my energy that I did, now, and I say it takes me 6 months to get there, so I'll have, where will the energy come from? It'll come from dietary fat. But I won't overload because there's a lot of energy in fat. I wake up hungry, and the idea is, if you're truly hungry, Sonia, if you're truly hungry, not just, wow, it's breakfast time and that bacon sure smells good. If you're truly hungry, eat. Nothing says you have to skip breakfast. Nothing says don't eat when you are hungry, okay? I'm not a big fan of arbitrarily not eating. Any more than I'm a fan of arbitrarily eating. Eat when you're hungry. Drink when you're thirsty. Sleep when you're tired. Pee when you gotta go. I mean, this is just what nature tells us. Put a coat on when you're cold. Listen to your body. But is it hunger? This is what I've had to learn. Tummy growling is not hunger. That's a circadian rhythm. It's your body reminding you usually eat every day at this time. I'm used to something happening. So maybe you want to send something in. So ask yourself that question, and only you can answer that. If you want to do a little test, I had suggested this, and someone messaged me yesterday that it worked. Set the timer for 15 minutes. Don't eat in 15 minutes. You're not going to die, okay? Here's the other thing. Ottawa, Canada. Oh, great. Kimberly, that's great. First life. Hunger does not equal death, okay? We're so afraid of hunger. And it's like we have PTSD. It's like, excuse myself, Mary Beth writes, I just learned to eat only when hungry, and I've been doing keto for 3 months. It takes time to learn your own body. Sometimes we want to eat when we see food. My mouth will water watching commercials. Yep, but you can overcome that. So anyway, it's like, sip water while you wait out your timer. It is like if you're a glucose burner, if you're eating the standard American diet, no matter whether it's the rotten standard American diet full of highly processed foods or the so-called healthy carbs, the whole grains and all that stuff, you're getting a lot of your calories from carbohydrate. Your liver is shooting out glucose. We can't store glucose in our blood, okay? We can only keep about 5 grams of glucose in our entire body. So it has to be pushed out, and your brain is burning glucose, and because it can't store it, your brain, after a while, will say, okay, I need more glucose. Get me some glucose, guys. And so you get that hangry. You get the roaming the hallways, going to kill somebody if you do not get a Snickers bar. If someone does not give you a cookie, there's going to be pain. Okay? That's hangry. That's when you're glucose burning. And it's not pleasant. And it's your brain telling you. It's not your being weak. Look what I can do. I couldn't do that before. Can you see? I've got my foot up there. Sometimes I just do that because I can. Good morning, Linnea. So we're afraid that if we and now we've become keto adapted, and we're afraid, what if we get hungry? Trust that if you're in ketosis, you're doing this right, you will get hungry. I get hungry and I eat. But it's not my brain telling me to get some food because I'm burning ketones in my brain. I'm not burning glucose, maybe a smidgen of glucose, but my body's making it. Gluconeogenesis, that's a big $12 word. But it's not this, I have got to stop and eat. See if it's real hunger. It's fascinating. When I learned to be okay with eating as little as I'm eating, I'm down to about a meal a day. If you follow my Fitness Pal, if you follow me on Instagram, I generally post my meal of the day. It's generally a plate of some fatty protein and maybe a vegetable, or maybe it's just fatty protein and some cheese. My Fitness Pal will show if I had snacks. Sometimes I'll, have a snack of some cheese. It's usually cheese, and I'm 2 ounces. I don't go overboard. But I'm down to about a meal a day, and I love it. I actually like the feeling of emptiness. Look, I almost pull my thing over. I like feeling empty and light. It's fantastic. Give it a try. When you're burning glucose, you will be eating something bad. When you're thinking about the next thing you're going to eat, and so on, crazy. I've said this before. When I was at my lowest point mentally and emotionally, and my heaviest, I can remember eating food, whatever it might have been, and I would be crying because I didn't want to eat the food. I didn't want it. Why am I eating this food? I'm not hungry. And I, at the same moment, be thinking about what I'm eating next. It's an addiction. Good morning. Just got on. Keto breath is a bit of a dilemma. As long as you're on keto, no. I don't think so, Joelle. At least, if so, no one around me is sharing it with me because I've asked. No. Okay, Kimberly writes, yeah, light is good. That unbearable light, that the unbearable being of lightness, to twist a phrase. Does anyone have any successes they want to share? We've already had a couple of people said new low. Okay, Betty, this is very exact. I've been on keto for over 400 days now. It's amazing how your body adapts. It's amazing the energy you have. So worth the lifestyle. This is so true. I've said it, and I repeat myself a lot, so you'll have to bear with me. It's the tax of listening to Casey. If someone told me, okay, well, you fixed your metabolism perfectly. You are a wonder child, and you can now go back to eating anything you want. You will not gain an ounce. You will, not put on body fat. You'll go back to the way you felt before. I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't do it for money. One of my coaching clients passed that mark. She's a young lady, love her. And she's actually, I'm very touched by her. And she has a lot to lose. And she's been on a diet since she's 10 years old. Her parents put her on a diet at 10. So many of us can probably relate to this. She was on for about a month. She'd gotten discouraged because 1 week she had not lost any weight, 0 pounds. She was only 3 weeks into it. She was ready to quit. I said, I had encouraged her to take before pictures, which she didn't want to do, and to take body measurements, which she really didn't want to do. But she did. She's paying me to get coached, so she listened to me. So I said, don't worry about it, stick with it. So I'm talking to her, trying to get her through it. And I said, what are your measurements? She said, I don't know, we haven't done them. Her husband does her measurements. She weighs herself at work. She won't have a scale in the house because it was so traumatic for her to be on the scale. She messaged me later that night. That week that she'd lost 0 pounds, she had lost 4¼ inches. That was one great thing. I mean, I felt so great. But then the next week, she said, something has changed. She says, something's changed about this diet. I mean, this is different. She was at her office. Someone brought in a cake, going away cake for somebody. She said normally she never would have eaten the cake in front of anyone anyway because fat people don't want to eat in front of other people, right? Oh my gosh, 61 years old, 61 pounds down, never going back now that I have the tools. Yay, Rona. So she called me though and said, or on the next coaching session, she said that although she normally would have not, hi Casey, I've dropped 24 pounds since starting keto last December, hoping to lose another 50. You, Jim, well, of course you're a man, Jim, assuming you are a man and not a woman posing as a man. Yeah, can we all tell him he'll probably lose 50 pounds by summer? We'll still love you anyway, okay? You can still be part of the group. Just men seem to go faster. Anyway, so she said that something was different because although she normally would have taken a slice of cake to her office and eaten it in private because she wouldn't want to have eaten in front of people, she said she didn't eat the cake. She didn't want the cake. She looked at it and went, bleh. She said that she knew in her mind, she said if someone put down a red velvet cupcake in front of her and said, here's $1,000 to eat that cupcake, she would have turned down the cupcake. And now this is a woman who was struggling, okay, for the previous 3 weeks to get through cravings and stuff. So hang in there, okay? New low yesterday. Joelle, I've been the same for 3 weeks. So I stopped eating nuts and tried to eat only when hungry and mindfully lost 100. Yay! Nuts are not on page 4. I hate it because I love nuts. My husband now, he can tolerate nuts. And I make him almond cookies from almonds that I grind at home. He can tolerate them. I cannot. This is why you listen to yourself. This is why you test for ketones, okay? For ketosis. It doesn't have to be a blood monitor. You can use the urine strips. They're perfectly fine. People who are saying throw them away, that's untrue. I actually spoke with a clinical researcher about that about 10 days ago. Spreadsheets. Thank you, Susan. Okay. Here's the deal. My spreadsheet is colossal. It goes back over 15 years. It's an Excel spreadsheet. It has about 12 or 15 different tabs and sheets, all that feed into each other because I've tracked a lot of data. Okay, I've finally gotten through my head, hearing your voice. To eat only when hungry. Since Sunday, I'm down 3 pounds. Yay! So a lot of people have asked about the spreadsheet. I translated it into a Google document. The Excel is just too big. I can't redact out all the data and the formulas because it's very heavy in formulas. But I made a very simplified Google version. Here's what I'm going to do, and I might lose some folks in this one. Tell more about the strips. I've heard over and over that they are inaccurate. Would love to know if they are inaccurate. Okay, I'm going to strips. Sold out around here. Strips, and I'm going to say another thing about exercise. Okay, that I heard. Keep an eye on time. I think I'm going to start something called a Patreon account. This is something it's totally voluntary, where people can essentially donate an amount of money, and this you can kind of do. I'll write blog posts and make my videos and things, and I'll continue to share everything. Free content will be available. But as a reward, if you pledge $1 a month or something like this, I have to think about it. You'll get, and I'll also guarantee to respond to all comments. I'm frankly cannot respond to all comments at this time because the volume is pretty high. Respond to all comments, and maybe I'll send you the link to the Google spreadsheet and then give support on it, within reason on how to use it. And then, for $5 a month, you get that plus something else, and then $10 a month. And if you, like $50 a month, you get all that stuff and a one-on-one coaching for half an hour or something. I don't know. I'm going to think about it. More on that. So I just need to be smart about what I'm doing. Okay. Keto strips are sold out around here. Love it. We apparently have a bunch of low carbers. So keto strips. Here's what I think happened. I don't know. I'm not going to disparage anyone who gives advice because people are giving of their time when they're giving advice and they're making the videos and everything. I think some of it maybe is just not based in actual fact. People say, for those of you who don't know, you can test your ketones by blood, urine, and breath. When you are in ketosis, your body burning ketones for fuel essentially has byproducts, right? Like when you burn fire, smoke is the byproduct. Well, with ketones, you can burn, it gives off acetoacetate, which comes out in the urine, beta hydroxybutyrate, which is found in the blood, and acetone, which comes out in the breath. The urine strips test for acetoacetate. And people say, well, those aren't accurate. Now, how are they not accurate? They don't really say. They can give a false negative if they're expired. So look at your packaging, make sure they're not expired. If they've not been stored properly. Some people apparently take them out and leave several on the counter in their bathroom, and keep them in, they're very sensitive to the air. So keep them in their container, sealed. And if you're testing when you are way overhydrated, when you're first thing in the morning, you have a bunch of urine to put out. Or if you've been pounding back water and you're just full, your bladder's full. So what it is the acetoacetate is diluted to the point where it doesn't register. So test, we did this with my husband because we knew he was in ketosis. We got the strips for him because he more often tests because he's curious about learning. He's self-testing about exercise and certain foods. So we found out if he just tests in the evening, it's better. He's in dark pink and purple all the time. So you can get false negatives for that. But, test at night, make sure your supplies are good. You can get a false positive. It's not unheard of, but it happens, and look at the packaging, if you're taking vitamins that are high in riboflavin or you're taking certain medications. Okay? So, but they're an inexpensive way to test. That's how I tested at the beginning. Mine are still accurate because when I've been part of clinical trials, they want me to test by urine, blood, and 2 types of breath. So they have faith in it. Okay, a Patreon account. I'll get back to that. Okay, thank you, Robin. That'd be great. Patreon. Now, exercise. We know that there's a lot of conflicting information out there. Do we? And I'm going to ask you guys to think about the most confusing thing you've heard that you have since decided on your own is inaccurate. But a woman messaged me from my YouTube account. She says, what kind of exercise do I do? I get that question a lot. And she said she's really afraid. She did keto before, but she was really scared off of it because she likes to exercise, and she was told that if you exercise, it'll kick you out of ketosis. What? Well, that would be news to Chris Froome, who is keto adapted and has won the Tour de France 3 times. That would be news to LeBron James. That would be news to, I can't even tell you, the number of, who is the skier? The downhill, the female skier, and many, many marathoners and long distance runners. So no. Okay, now I'm looking to see. So no. If you're keto adapted, it's actually great. Exercise is great. The Art and Science of Low Carbohydrate Performance. Dr. Spinney and Volek wrote the book years ago. They test athletes. No, it's a great way for athletes to be. I'm not going to throw you out of ketosis. Why would that happen? If you're keto adapted, your body's just going to tap into onboard reserves. Now you might need to tweak yours if you're very intense. My husband rides cycles. He went out for a 30 or 40 mile bike ride yesterday. He didn't change anything. He doesn't take any onboard food or anything like that. Cyclists get smoothies in our house, so I had a smoothie waiting for him while I had my gin and tonic. And cyclists get steak for dinner, so he had steak. Patreon is a really cool thing. If you've heard of Kickstarter, Kickstarter is a platform where you can donate to people who are making products. So I'm going to make a widget. I need to get this up and running. You can donate, and in exchange you get something. I don't know, I don't make products, so I don't know what that something would be. But the product is made, and that's the end of that. Patreon was started for people who want to support creators, writers, artists, musicians, vloggers, blog writers, etc. And so instead of, you can pay by product, pay by video, pay by music, pay by piece of photograph, you can just pledge monthly. And you get, in return, here's what I'm planning on doing. I will always provide free content. I feel like this is my calling. Honestly, that sounds really dramatic. I feel like it. I feel like my life has been so changed by this, and I'm going to get emotional. And that I wish I knew about it so long ago, because I missed out on so much. I have a wonderful life, and I have wonderful grown children who are fantastic. But I missed out. I subtracted myself from many events because I didn't feel good about myself, and I didn't feel good about being in front of their friends. I didn't want to embarrass them. So, sorry. Here's live for you. Anyway, so I feel like if I can help anybody, like Talmud says, correct me, my Jewish friends, if I get this wrong, but I believe that Talmud says, if you save one soul, you've saved the world. Something to that. So if I can help one person, so I will continue to provide free content and answer as many questions as I can to the best of my ability. But I think what I'm going to do is have more in-depth videos and maybe longer form writing that will be on Patreon. So if I make a long video on my skin removal surgery, if I decide to have that, I do have to have breast revision because of bulgy and squinty here, because this one is fake from the mastectomy and reconstruction and didn't lose weight. So I need to have that reworked. Anyway, I might make more in-depth videos and writing about that, I might start an exercise thing and just research, and I might try to go to more conferences and maybe do interviews with people. Anyway, so some of that would be behind. If you are a patron, you get access to this. You will always get access to free stuff. Okay, so that's what Patreon is. So thank you for asking, and thank you for indulging me in that overly emotional piece. We can't look back or we'll cry. Me too, sniff. Turning 59 and just getting started, 1 month keto. I lost 11 pounds. That is fantastic. And I'm going to have one more point of mine that I want to make before I begin to wrap things up. I want to apologize. And my daughter, my beautiful daughter, pointed this out to me. And this really wraps up into the, I had not involved myself in some things when my kids were growing up. I didn't want my husband to introduce me to people. I thought he deserved much better. And consequently, I'm a fairly witty person. I have a quick wit. And communication in my very large family, 5 older brothers, was the art of the put down. So I was, kind of made fun of when I was a pudgy little girl. I was not, not big, but I was pudgy. So I was, the jokes were made. So many of you may be at the same point where I started making the wisecracks about myself before someone else could make it. So I started putting myself down a lot. Even when I was small, you just getting that tiny, in my teens and early 20s. You just get in that habit. You just make fun of yourself. So I did this all straight on through until one day my daughter, she doesn't even remember doing it, but it really stuck with me. She said, "Mommy, would you please stop talking about like that about yourself? You're not modeling very good behavior for me." And it just hit me between the eyes because I'd worked so hard to make sure my daughter was raised to know that her value was not a reflection of whatever man she was or woman she was or was not with, that she was entitled to everything that the world had to offer, that never to hide her light under a bushel. She's very, very smart, and own it, and don't ever try to play dumb or anything like that. She was right. I was not modeling very good behavior. I was modeling behavior where my worth, I was seeing through what I assumed were other people's images of me. So I said, wow. And this was a hard thing to stop. But I did. I mean, I really tried. So what I did with the thinking of feelings, and I want y'all to hear this. This is what helped me. Under the heading of feelings follow behavior, I just determined to stop talking like that. Stop talking like that. I might still think it, but stop it before it came out of my mouth, which is really hard because, out. And after a while, I stopped thinking like that. And this was before I lost weight. I just quit referring to myself in these negative terms. So that was great. And then now I feel better about myself, genuinely feel better about myself. But here's my point. I'm 66, lost 40 pounds, and this is the only way to eat. Feel fabulous, thrilled to share this way of eating and mentioning my friends as they start. We can all be advocates. Who knows where this might end up? Anyway, the point of my story is that the other day, I posted a link to my blog where I put up before pictures. I finally just made a page, a tab on my blog with nothing but before pictures. And the way I put it on my Facebook page, and my daughter follows my Facebook page, I started out with something. I said, okay, y'all, for those of you with a strong constitution, you can go and look at these pictures. And she first said, Patricia, my daughter told me when she was 5 that there are 2 types of ladies, those who smoke and those who are fat. Casey, again, thanks for your time, experience, and energy this morning. See you Tuesday. So she said, good job on putting those photos up there. I know how hard that was for you. She said, and another thing that comment about for those of you with a strong constitution, she said, there may be people that are the size you were or larger or close to it. And you have just told them that they're going to make somebody sick. If they look the way I did, then they'll make people sick. And that was wrong of me, and I apologize. And it was my knee-jerk reaction. It was a tick. And that's what she said. I figured it was just a tick. It was like a throwback. It was like, just throwback to put myself down before somebody else can. So I apologize for making that comment. Anybody who is any size, I've heard from people who weigh 115 pounds and they want to lose weight because they don't feel right at the weight they are. I've heard from someone who's way into the 400s. It doesn't matter. You start, you follow it, you have faith, you stick with it. It's never too late to become the person you were meant to be, I think, or something like that, whatever the George Eliot quote is. It's never too late. Okay? Apology done. Jennifer, this is my first time on a diet that I feel great. I just feel good and in such a better mood all around. I have 2 small children, and they have even noticed that Mommy wants to play with us more. I like that. Talking to a friend of over 50 years, how are you doing? I answered, getting old and fat. My saying that about myself hurt my spirit. Won't do that a good, Pamela. We do. You know, we hear that. You know, and my daughter said, you wouldn't talk that way about anybody else. You would never even think that. She's right. Lifestyle gives hope to all, no matter what your size. It's hard because I tend to look at myself that way, but wouldn't even think it about someone else. Exactly. We are so hard on ourselves. And another thing is, it's been built into us that if we are heavy, we have failed so many times, when in truth, the diets failed us. So did our government. And I'm not talking broad strokes government. I'm talking about the USDA. I'm talking about the food pyramid, okay? Science failed us. Our medical providers have failed us. Not because they mean to. Now, the politicians and the food manufacturers couldn't care less. Our medical providers, for the most part, just don't know any better. My wish is that this message get to the rest of the world, so we'll have doctors, nutritionists, food manufacturers, restaurants get it. As soon as the food manufacturers can find a profit, they will. The problem is that the food that we need to be eating on this is not cheap to produce, transport, process, or keep on and won't last on the shelf for long. You know, when you got a Twinkie that'll last for 35 years, that manufacturer got their money's worth. Yeah, Sandra, thank you. I have a lovely spirit. Hearing you growing and understanding of yourself and value, it really is a growing process. You know, when you get so beat down, you feel bad physically. And some of this is our diet induced. I mean, my mood's stabilized. You know, I get teary sometimes, but I don't get really down like the way I used to. You get beat down. And it is so nice not to feel beat down. Yes, so much shame and being shamed, not feeling like I had the right to eat in other people's eyes. I know, right? Can we all say this? You know, it's like when you're heavy, you don't have a right to eat anything. And if you're eating anything other than what people think you're supposed to eat, you know, cottage cheese and cling peaches, it's embarrassing. Going to a buffet, forget about it. So if you can come to the low-carb support group meeting where there's a nice buffet and no one's going to look at you, funny. Will diet caffeine-free soda stall your weight loss? Artificial sweeteners and caffeine and all that stuff has not stalled mine. Your mileage may vary. I take Splenda in my coffee. I love a Coke Zero with some rum, or without. I don't have to have rum. No, it has not stalled me, but test yourself. First thing to do is get into ketosis. The easiest way to do that is with some keto sticks. Once you're in ketosis and you see things weird, or you get out of ketosis, one way you say, what could I have eaten that did that? That's why I think it's very good to measure. Shame is a debilitator. Yeah, it's a useless. Guilt, shame, and regret. Get them out of your life. They don't serve any purpose whatsoever. And I'm sorry I missed that one. I couldn't see. Now I learned that my dad... Okay, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry I couldn't see that comment. Yes. Thank you for everyone for contributing. Okay, now we're coming up on just about an hour. I'm happy to stay, but I don't want to overstay my welcome. Plus, I do have a couple of appointments today. But does anyone... Have I missed anything? Did anyone have anything they wanted to ask or share? Wouldn't the alcohol get you out of ketosis? No, Susan. I'm happy to tell you this is the best diet ever. You get to have sour cream and ribeyes and butter and bacon and eggs and booze, and you don't have to exercise. I was actually part of an alcohol study, a clinical trial. Effects of alcohol in ketosis. And guess what? There isn't one. I've never been out of ketosis in 3 years. And I have an adult beverage almost every night. My husband was pre-diabetic when we started. He's down to 205 for a big bone man at 62. Now he's a crazy keto chef. Is the person who coined the phrase Keto Bandito? Are you on? Are you on now? I can't remember who it was. This person wrote, I feel like the Keto Bandito. I said, I'm going to take that. When am I live again? Here's what I'm planning on doing, Sandra. Yay, booze! Still can't lose in ketosis, eating very little. Okay, Lynn. Oh, Lynn, dadgummit. I think you're a special case, Lynn. What about your size 8 jeans? Any chance you can get into size 6s? Let's think about that. Wine, yes. Dry wine, so not cordials. Nothing that you know has sugar in it. Sangria that has, fruit juice and stuff. No, I drink, I don't have a bottle in front of me, amazingly. Red wine, white wine, anything that just is a dry wine. Vodka, gin, rum. Just make sure your mixers, if you do mix them, don't have sugar. They're 0 carb. Dry farm wines, lower carb. Yeah, dry farms. Patricia, is that the one that is it's fairly pricey, but it is like keto done. They no hangovers. They guarantee no hangovers. I think that's the one. Yeah, as long as the alcohol isn't the flavored kind, right? So, like I said, I like a Coke Zero with some rum. I had it last night. I had gin and Bombay Sapphire gin with some diet tonic water and some lime. Refreshing. And it's lower alcohol. Okay, see, I like the higher alcohol. Does tonic have carbs? Diet tonic does not. You know what? Hold on a segundo. I'm going to get to the bottle that I use. And I get the cheap stuff. Aspartame. You know what? There are kind of fallacious stories about research about the sugars, the sweeteners. So far, there's really not that. I'm not worried about one of them. And neither is Westman. Must order, not in stores. Stay away from Malibu or Apple Crown. Hold, please. Okay. So, diet tonic from Harris Teeter. Let me see if you can see it. I don't know if you can. 0 carbs. So diet is cool. Diet is cool. Sorry about that. If I'm at a bar, can I order gin and tonic? Do I need to ask for diet tonic? Yes. Not all of them have it. So you do ask. And if it doesn't taste right, don't drink it. Because I've had that happen. I've sent drinks back. I'm pretty sure there's sugar in here. And, it just depends on the bar you go to. No, a good bartender, yeah. Now, here's the other thing. If you like them, I'm just going to clip this on here. My thing broke, so I'm using a binder clip. Martini. Just straight up cocktails. A martini, a Manhattan. I have a Manhattan. That's kind of where I do. Most cocktails these days have some kind of sugar base. They have a simple syrup or they have fruit juice in them. So I just get a gin martini, a little dirty. Sometimes I'll have a vodka martini. A Manhattan is made with like Maker's Mark or some other whiskey, a little bit of red vermouth and bitters, I think, and a cherry. I'll go ahead and eat the cherry. One bar I like to go to, they brine their own cherries. They're really good. Dirty Martini had one last night. You know the phrase that I love from Dorothy Parker. I like a good martini. 2 at the very most. 3, I'm under the table. And 4, I'm under the host. Okay. Oh, you're going to St. Martin in April, and I want to know what I can order. Yeah, tropical places may be harder because they're all going to come with pineapple and mango juice, but yeah, you can drink. I love it. Now, your tolerance might be different. I can't hang the way I used to, which is a good thing. Okay, guys, We're coming up on an hour. Yeah, my kind of gal. Dorothy Parker was my kind of gal. You need to keep going. Some days it's hard. I just go back to bed and pull the covers over my head. I wake up and everything is fine. We have to find what works for us, right? Do hang in there. Thank you guys so much for your support. Thank you for joining. I'm going to try to do these live events Saturday mornings, 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, until my schedule fills up too much. YouTube, 9 a.m. Monday mornings. And I think you have to subscribe to my channel and click on the little bell next to the word subscribe and you'll be notified. And I do reminders, talk about self-promotion. I do one-on-one coaching. Go to my website, CaseyDurango.com, and look for the coaching tab if you want to get some one-on-one. Thank you guys so much. I've learned so much from you guys, and you inspire me. Thank you for indulging me. Thanks, Claire. See you next Saturday. I hope you guys can make it, who are in the area can make it, or even if you want to drive to the support group meeting on Tuesday. Look for the RSVP post. My hair is crazy. To see about that. Dr. Westman will be there. Should be fun. TTFN. Talk to you later. Thanks, Trish. Bye.